Live stream is starting up, just taking a second.
Mhm.
I believe it is. Ah, yes. Okay. It's live, but it started playing for me too. So I was
Oh,
getting my own sound.
oh, okay.
Excellent. So I think we'll just give it another minute or so for people
Mhm.
to finish getting in, and then we'll do our introduction and we'll get the ball rolling.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Just give it one more minute. I
Yeah.
see the participant count ticking up.
Yeah. I see like people just slowly coming into the room.
All right, well, let's get things started. So good afternoon, everybody. My name is Kevin Burke, and I'll be the moderator for this session, which is titled Evaluating Generative AI for Multilingual Metadata, Insights from Chinese Language Materials. Before we begin, we just have a few reminders. We have a code of conduct that we will adhere to for this conference. The link is posted in the chat. Now, if you have any issues, you're welcome to please contact us via email at galeconferencesupport@googlegroups.com. Please be sure that your microphone is muted. During the Q&A, you please wait until you are invited to unmute before asking your question or making your comment. You can also use the chat or Q&A for questions. There is a handout available under the Resources tab in Zoom, and I'll post another link in the chat explaining how to access that if you don't see it. As a reminder, this session is being recorded and live streamed. You can enable captions by clicking on the Show Captions button at the bottom of the screen. Again, if you're not seeing show captions, it may be hidden under the More function. Ah, I see that the links aren't showing up. Ah, indeed. Thank you for posting that. I had accidentally sent them to the panelists only. There we go. You should all see the links now. Thank you for the warning. With that, it is my pleasure to introduce Xiaojie Duan. Xiaojie Duan is the assistant head of cataloging and metadata at the Tulane University Libraries, who has domain skills and knowledge in cataloging and cataloging multilingual materials, including Chinese language monographs, music scores, and materials in various formats. She conducts hands-on projects on AI-generated record creation and its impact on cataloging and classification. Please join me in welcoming Xiaojie Duan.
Hello, everyone. This is Xiaojie. So I'm just start to share my screen and just want to make sure you all can see my slides and then we're ready to go. So thanks for Kevin's introduction. My name is Xiaojie Duan. I'm the assistant head of cataloging and metadata at the Tulane University Libraries. I do have domain knowledge and skills of cataloging, including multilingual material cataloging like Chinese language materials. Today, I will share a small-scale, personal-driven, hands-on project evaluating how Alma's built-in AI function for bibliographic record creation. So my project is not a product implementation, and I did not mess up our cataloging environment. So all my project has been done in the Alma sandbox environment using my own cataloging data. So you can, I just ask the IT people to just derive my own cataloging data into the Alma sandbox so that I can play with my own cataloging data without messing up our real product environment. My focus is not only whether AI can create a record, but also how well it performs when the material is multilingual and format specific. So for today's roadmap, first, I will begin with the background introduction of this project and explain why I became interested in AI in cataloging. Then I will briefly show where the built-in AI function appears in Alma and how it works. The main part of my presentation will focus on 3 hands-on experiments, including the Chinese language monograph, Chinese music score, and the Chinese comic. After that, I will summarize where I think AI did well, where I think it did not do well, and the checklist I might use for future cataloging workflow if I want to apply AI function into my workflows. At the end, I will share the final takeaways of my presentation. So first, why this project? Because right now, generative AI is now moving from general chat tools into daily library systems and library workflows. So they are just, like I said, they are built-in functions and they are free. So if you have login information, if you have credential of Alma, so you can try those AI functions for free. So I just thought, well, so they are built-in functions and they are free. So how about I just try? Yeah, just no afraid to try. But it is also interesting because for cataloging, this is especially interesting because cataloging is both standard-based and detail-oriented. So like when I first heard Alma has like built-in AI functions, I just thought you just build like 2 different things together. So on one hand, our AI seems promising and convincing. It may help with early stage record creation like summary fields or broad term subject headings. But on the other hand, cataloging is not just translation or not just text generation. It requires skills and knowledge of certain cataloging standards, controlled vocabularies, classification, language expertise, and format-specific professional judgment. Because cataloging, we are not only catalog monographs, we catalog different various types, various formats of materials. And for some specialized formats of materials like music scores, we do require specialized mark fields, machine-readable cataloging, MARC, to better describe those specialized materials. So for me, the question is not simply, can AI generate a bibliograph record? Instead, the more important question to me was, what kind of the record does it create? And where does catalogers' review become essential? What level of and what kind of human review is needed? The next is why Chinese materials matter. I choose Chinese language materials because for multilingual metadata, it requires more than translation. It creates challenges that are not always visible in English language examples. For Chinese language cataloging, the record may need romanized fields, original script fields, and linking fields in the record. They are not optional details. So for every single multilingual metadata, for every single multilingual bibliograph record, we are required to insert such fields in the record. They affect discovery, access, and representation. So this matters because if AI tools do not perform well in those non-Roman languages, AI may increase the inefficiency and the inconsistency for those materials, thus decreasing the metadata qualities of those bibliographical records that we, as cataloging unit and cataloging department, we do not want to see. So for my project, I framed the evaluation around one main question. How can Alma's create with AI assistant function support early stage bibliograph record creation? And where does it require catalogers correction? I looked at several areas, the descriptive metadata, subject headings, and the classification. More specifically, I also looked at mark fields for multilingual materials and mark fields for music materials, since I used the music scores for my presentation. And this is like music score is like a representation of those specialized format materials. I also paid attention to the cataloger's judgment, whether the AI output could be used directly or used with revision, or should only be treated as a rough starting point, or we just reject the AI-generated record. So in Alma, next I will introduce like where we find the built-in AI function in Alma. So first, you have to make sure you do have the login and the credential information of Alma. So after you log into Alma, the create with AI assistant function appears within the metadata editor, the MDE. The basic workflow is fairly straightforward. First, you find Show MDE button at the lower left side of Alma's screen. It looks like this. And then you click Show MDE and you click Create with AI Assistant under New. So this is the picture. So this is like I took from the MDE. And so a pop-up window will appear, and it allows you to put information such as title, author, or ISBN, or other known information if applicable. And then you can attach or upload images, such as the photos you took for the cover page, for the title page, or for the title page verso. Alma allows us to upload up to 4 images per one material. It is kind of a limited number, and I'm happy that like Alma is right now collecting surveys from the users, and I'm going to suggest maybe you can expand the number to maybe 6 or 5, because like 4 is kind of limited. So this is what a pop-up window looks like. Yeah, so you can notice the title information is required. I just marked I also marked the scroll down bar in red. So if you scroll down, you will get the screenshot on the right. So this is the section that you can upload the pictures. You can just drag or just open your file and upload the pictures there. And so up to 4 pictures per one material. So after you enter the required information, the generate record button will light up, and then wait for Alma to create an initial bibliograph record. So after you enter the title, so the generate record button will light up. Alma will notify when it received the information to generate the record, and Alma will also notify when the record is ready. All the records were stored in metadata editor in MDE, where the catalogers can review and edit them. All the records generated by AI will be indicated in MDE. So this is what the picture, so showing that all the 4 bibliograph records were generated with the help of AI. So in my test, the AI-generated record often included some general descriptive fields, such as the 100 author field, 245 title field, 264 publication field, 33X, physical description fields, 490 serial statement field, 520 summary field, 650, 655 general subject heading field, and the general heading field. The strongest areas were usually narrative or text-based fields, especially the 220 summary and the 650 general subject heading fields. These are the areas where generative AI's language ability can be useful, in my opinion. Other than those most general descriptive fields, Alma will also suggest some mark fields in the record, meaning that typically they will not generate those fields automatically, but if they captured the information in your pictures or if you entered the information in the pop-up window, Alma sometimes will generate those fields for you, like the 020, the field for ISBN, the 041, the field for language code, important for multilingual metadata. 250, the field for edition statement, 500, the note field, general note field, 651 field for geographic subject heading, and 830 again another field for serial. So 490 and 830 are pairs. So if AI generated 490 in the record, usually it will generate the 830. So other than those suggested fields, Alma will also indicate two fields, indicating that this record contains AI content, including the 520 subfield 7. They will say this field is generated by AI, and then there will be a full mark field called 588 field, saying that part of the metadata in this record was created with the help of AI metadata assistant. I will show examples later in my presentation. However, the record was not complete. It often misses certain fields like the 050, the call number field, 066, another field for language coding, 246, subtitle, 300 field, the detailed physical description field, like how many pages were included in one volume. 505, content note field, 710 and 700, one for the corporate body added names, one for the personal names like editors, illustrators, contributors, issuing bodies, etc. And some specialized fields for music cataloging, like 306 for playing time, 348 for notated music characteristics, and 382 for medium of performance. So those are the specialized mark fields for specialized formats of materials. So even when the record looked useful at the first glance, it will require careful catalogers review. So to evaluate the AI output, I tested the three types of Chinese materials. I tested the Chinese monograph, Chinese music score, and Chinese comic. The monograph has rich English translations, the music score has fewer English translations, and the comic has less to no words. I just wanted to level up the challenges and see how AI performed with different levels of language supporting and different types of materials. So let's look at my first case, the Chinese monograph. I used the following images. They are the title page verso, and the introduction pages to the museum and the exhibition, and also a brief table of content. So I uploaded the images into Alma, and I also filled out like necessary information in the pop-up window. And then this is what the AI generated record looks like. It's just the part of the record. I just marked the parts that I think were useful in green. So you can see the author, AI recognized the author in the 100 field. It also recognized the Chinese and the English main title, not the subtitle. AI also captured the correct publication year, 2024, and put in the correct field. Also, it generated some like 33X fields for monograph. 336, 337, and 338. It also generated a useful initial summary and recognized that this monograph is somehow connected to an existing exhibition. You can see by the end of the 520 field, there is subfield 7 generated by AI, so indicating the summary was generated with the help of AI. And also you can see at the end, at the bottom of the screenshot, there is the 588 field, indicating that this record contains AI generated information as well. So I listed what I think are useful in words here, like author information was captured, recognized the Chinese and the English main titles, and generated some useful 33X fields for monograph. generated like the usable initial summary of this monograph, and then recognized that this book has the relationship with an existing exhibition. However, some parts of the record were much less reliable. I also marked the fields that I think need revisions in red. So like the 041 field lacks the Chinese language code. It only has the English code. And the subtitle in 245 field was also missing. And certain fields are also missing, like the 050, 066, 250, 300 field, 500 field, and 505 fields. So AI generated some useful subject headings that I marked in green, but it also generated some inappropriate subject headings I marked in red, and I don't think I will use it in the record. And even though AI recognized the editor and the writer information, writer of added commentary information in the 245 field subfield E, it failed to generate them into the 700 and 710 fields because they are contributors and they are editors of this book. The interesting part is the end of the screenshot, the 880 field. AI recognized the title in both English and Pinyin, not in Chinese characters, in Pinyin, including the subtitle. But it failed to generate such information back to 245 and 246 fields. And in my department, we do not use 880 fields. So I also, and at the end, the whole record lacks linking fields to link the Chinese information to the English or Pinyin information, so that if the users who don't know Chinese can get a basic understanding that, oh, this piece of Chinese information has relationship with this piece of English information or this piece of Pinyin information, to let them get a better understanding of what this record is describing. So this is what the linking fields look like. So for example, we have two 100 fields. The first 100 field is the author's name in Chinese characters. The second 100 field is the author's name in Pinyin. The same as the 246 the subtitle, 250 edition statement, and the 264 fields. So every single multilingual metadata multilingual bibliograph record requires linking fields, but unfortunately, I missed all of them. So I listed what I think are not useful in words here. Lacks the language code, missing the subtitle, certain fields were missing, inappropriate subject headings, 700 and 710 fields were missing the editors information and the writers of added commentary. And then 880 field contains title and English in Pinyin, and we do not use 880 fields. And the whole record is missing the linking fields. So this is the first case. Let's look at the second case. It is a Chinese music score, and those are the images that I used. So it has the cover page, the title page versal, and I also uploaded a Chinese summary of this music score. I just want to say whether AI can generate the English version summary for me. And this is what the AI generated record looks like. I think, in my opinion, AI did a better job of the music score than the monograph, since AI recognized the composer's name, not the author's name, and put it in the correct field. You can see the 100 field, subfield E, it says composer, not author, so very great. Also, AI generated the correct title and the publisher information. I put in the correct fields, and notice that AI generated the 33X fields for music score. The 336 is notated music, not text. So also another good job. So also AI generated a very useful initial summary. It even captured some basic information, some background information of the music score, like this music score was for a music competition, and that competition has been postponed due to pandemic. Also some AI also generated some basic information and put in the 500 notes, like the music duration information, the first performance information, the OP number of the music score, the ED number of the publisher. So all of those were correct. I listed what I think are useful in words here. Composers information captured, correct title information was captured, 33X fields were generated for music, really good. Generated the initial summary, useful summary, and also captured the basic and the background information of this music score. So, however, even though AI did a good job on music score, there are still some parts of the record that need revisions. I marked them in red rectangles as well. So some of them are the same problems we saw in the monograph record, like the 041, 066, 050, 246, and 300 fields. They were all missing. Furthermore, those specialized mark fields that I mentioned, like 306, 348, 382, are also missing. And those fields were specialized for music cataloging, and I couldn't even find them in the record because they are in the air. Also, AI recognized the publisher's information and put the publisher's information in 490 and 830, which is not good and incorrect. And even though the music score has German language, it didn't print in German, so the 500 note was wrong. On the right, so you can also see there is a tiny picture. That's the rest of this AI generated record. AI did generate some good subject headings, and I marked them in red, and I actually used those two in my official published bibliographic record. But it also generated some not useful subject headings that I don't think I will use. Commissioner's information was captured in 500 field, but didn't appear in the 710 field. And even though AI captured the correct Chinese name for the composer and for the music score, it didn't generate them in the 245 and 246 fields. And the whole record was lacking the linking fields neither. So I listed what I think are not useful in words here. It lacks the language code. Certain fields were missing. Correct information was put in the wrong fields. And then inappropriate subject headings. And then commissioner's information did not appear in the 17 field. Composers correct Chinese names of the composer and the music score stored in the wrong field. And the whole field, the whole record is lacking the linking fields. Now let's move to the last example that I used. It's the Chinese comic. And I think this was the most challenging one because it didn't contain much words, not many Chinese words and not many English words. So you can see example here. These are the images that I used. So on the top left corner, you can see the cover of the Chinese comic, and you can tell this Chinese comic actually has two titles, one in Chinese characters and one in English. And then it contains two stories, and the second and the third pictures were the pictures I took for the first story, and the last picture was for the second story. I have to say sorry, I couldn't take a clear picture for the second story, but I also want to test whether AI can still capture the information using low resolution pictures. So I uploaded those images into Alma, and then this is what I got. So this time AI did a good job of capturing the ISBN information and put it in the correct field O2O. And I also feel very strange because for the Chinese monograph and also for the Chinese music score, I also put the ISBN information for them. But the Chinese comic was the only one that AI recognized the ISBN information and put it in the O2O. So I don't know why. Also, AI recognized the correct language code and captured and put in the correct field. The author's name was captured correctly in the 100 field. I marked the title in orange because AI recognized the Chinese title but missing the English title. Remember, we saw the image of the cover. It has two titles, the English title and the Chinese title. So other than that, AI was able to generate the 33X fields for comic, not for music. So it becomes text again. And I also marked the summary in orange because AI was able to generate the summary for the first story, but not the second one. It just totally missed the second one. So I listed what I think are useful in words here. ISBN information was captured, author information was captured, language code and the Chinese title were captured, useful 33X fields were generated, and AI also generated a useful first draft summary for the first story, not for the second one. So I also marked the ones that I think need revisions in red, like the title I mentioned, it missed the English title, and there are same fields were missing, like 050, 066, 246, 250 fields. And surprisingly, for this time, AI missed the 264, which is the publisher information field. So we can see both the Chinese monograph and the Chinese music score had the 264 fields, but not the Chinese comic. 300 field, 336 for image were also missing because remember this is the Chinese comic, it contains so many pictures. So we need a second 336 for images. 490, 505, and 830 fields were also missing. As I mentioned before, AI only generated the summary for the first story. It also generated some inappropriate subject headings. Editor's information didn't appear in the 700 field, and the title in pinyin at the end of the screenshot appeared in an unknown field, not even in 880 field. So again, this record didn't include any linking fields like I mentioned before. So I listed what I think are not useful also in words here. Yeah, lacks the English title. Certain fields were missing. Didn't include the summary for the second story. Inappropriate subject headings. Didn't capture the editor's information in 700 field. And the pinyin appeared in unknown field. And the record didn't include any linking fields. So according to my project, I listed what AI can do and what it can't do below in the table. AI was strongest when the task looked like natural language generation, like summaries, general notes, and broader term descriptions. It was weaker when the task required domain cataloging skills and knowledge, like the classification, language coding, linking fields, subtitle, music-specific fields, and personal and corporate body added names. This distinction is useful to me because it helped me decide where AI may be appropriate in the workflow and where it should not be trusted without a careful review. So one practical outcome of my project is a simple review checklist. When catalogs evaluate an AI-generated record, we can ask, does this record need the following fields? Is the title statement accurate? Are publication and physical description fields complete? Is the summary appropriate? And are the subject headings appropriate and controlled? The final question is also important, and I marked it in red. Should this record be used, revised, or rejected? Because remember, not every AI-generated record is worth editing. Sometimes it may be faster and safer to create a bibliograph record from the start by your own, using your own cataloging skills and knowledge, or derive an existing record directly into the library system through the traditional cataloging workflows. So to conclude, my project shows that for early stage record creation, AI can save time, especially when the catalogers use the AI output as a draft, not as a final record. And second, AI can help with capturing basic information like the author, main title, and it can help with generating initial summaries and broad term subject headings. However, the AI output requires careful review. The goal is not to replace catalogers, but to help catalogers work more efficiently while maintaining the metadata quality. So yeah, I think that's the end of my presentation, and now I'm open to any questions you might have.
Wonderful, thank you. So just as a reminder, you're welcome to add any questions you have into the chat or the Q&A. I believe you can also raise your hand and we can, the button says allow to talk, which is a little draconian maybe, but we can also do that. To get the ball rolling, I have a couple questions. Absolutely love the presentation. Thank you so much. One of the things I was wondering is, what about people who don't have the domain or the language expertise? I see the temptation, I think, to use these tools to kind of compensate. Or, like music cataloging is a very specialized field. If you don't have a music cataloger at your institution, would you view this as a possible way to kind of compensate for that? Or would you say, like, no, not going to cut it?
Um, I should say, I kind of like neutral to the functions, because when I did like the AI project in my department, many people were coming to me and then asking whether we could activate the functions in Alma, but I do not have the authority. So like I said, I did not mess up our production environment, and I do not, so as like, I think IT people has the authority to like activate or deactivate the AI functions. So right now for our full product environment, we do not activate the AI function, but for the Alma sandbox environment, I can try everything I want. I mean, this is like also an interesting question, because I do have several staff members who have like a little cataloging knowledge that come to me and then ask whether we could use like AI. And I just told them, we certainly we need to like do a review and do certain like a configuration in the AI function before we teach them how to do the function and how to see whether this record is good or whether this record is bad. Because they are like right now I'm just using like the default template, metadata template in Alma, but like for people who have like no or less cataloging skills and knowledge, I probably would want to modify the template to make it easier for them to understand, for them to use. And also we should test the AI output. Definitely start with English materials, because I found English Alma works better in English materials, not multilingual materials. And then and then like I said, we can also make the checklist for them to see whether it help them to review the AI output, and then we get the feedback from them, and hopefully, they can still use the AI function even though they have like less cataloging knowledge.
Interesting. Yeah, I think that the point about using it in English first, I think, really makes a
Yeah,
lot of sense. I work at
yeah,
a bilingual English-French institution, and that's something we've noticed as well, is that all of these tools perform so much better in English.
yeah.
Um, One of the things I also wanted to ask is if you've tested out some of the other tools that are available, things like Catalog or GPT, to see how they stack up, or is Alma your focus?
Yeah, Alma is my focus right now because the Alma has like two built-in AI functions. One is the one that I introduced today, the create with AI assist. Another one is enrich with AI assist. You can tell the differences by their names. So this one you help you to build to generate the bibliograph record from the beginning. And then the enrich with AI assist is that you have an existing record in MDE, and then you click that button, it can suggest more mark fields for you for better description. And there is like also another built-in AI function in OCOC connection. OCOC connection is also a widely used like cataloging tools in the United States for catalogers. So the built-in AI function is called OCOC AI enrichment. It is also for free. So if you have login and credentials to OCOC connection, you can also use that under macros. So it's a small macro.
Hmm.
And so it requires you to open an existing record and then click that macro. It has like the similar function as the enrich with AI Assist. It will suggest the call numbers to you and also the subject headings to you. Yeah, I talked to the OCOC connection people during the past AOA annual conference, and they said that they will have like some improvements to the macro, to the AI macro next year. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I'm just really looking forward to it. But like those three built-in AI functions are now my focus.
Hmm. Interesting. And I guess kind of similar because you said that, the OCLC one is going to be improved next year. These tools tend to move pretty quickly.
Mhm.
If you could make one change to the Alma AI assistant, what would you change?
Yeah, just allow us to upload more pictures because four pictures are not enough. I mean, so like for the Chinese comic, it has like no words. So I just tried want to upload more images so to let like AI know as to let AI capture as full information as possible. And I have to say, so the more information you put in those AI functions, the more better results you could get. Yeah.
Um, Kind of some more technical questions, and just a reminder, anyone who has any other questions, I have a lot, so I'm happy to keep sharing mine. Oh, here's one in the chat. Could you specify which fields you would like to be filled with descriptive information, or is that something the system provides by default?
I think the 520 field is so just in my opinion, in Alma, at least the 520 field, the summary field is default. So if you put like if you capture or if you upload any images or entered any information, AI can generate the summary field for you. And some like 650 fields, I guess, are maybe default as well because I always see like 650 fields appear in those generated AI generated records. So yeah. So I guess there are maybe like default settings, but since I don't have authority to do the configuration, I really need to ask if I want to push like the AI project in my department. I really need to ask our IT people to give me some authorities so that I can go in and then see if the configuration can change or cannot change the default settings.
Like, yeah, systems people always hold the keys, right?
Yeah.
So one of my questions, oh, sorry. Another one in the chat. Do you know what happens with the images you added to generate description?
So like the Chinese like the Chinese score, I just uploaded like the Chinese summary, like the picture, and then it's just I think it's generated a beautiful summary, like in English for me. So I think this is the strongest part that I recommend we try AI. Do not try because it's really to me. So after I did my project, saved like my time. So instead of me thinking about the summary from the beginning, or instead of me generating the subject fields from the beginning or from the start in a blank, AI now generated the summaries for me and the subject headings for me. So I can choose, I can pick whichever I want and then just use them, or I can just revise the draft summary and then just copy and paste and do revision in the record. So like I mentioned for the Chinese for the music score, I really used like those two subject headings. I marked in green and I just copy and paste because I found no errors in those subject headings, and they are perfect to describe the music score. So why not why not using it?
And one of my questions was, did you happen to notice if the records are internally consistent, like with the language coding? Does the 008 match what we're seeing elsewhere, or is it something you need to review?
Yes, it really depends, like a case by case. So sometimes it matches, sometimes you really need to review. Yeah, and I just feel like very interesting because you can just try to let AI generate the bibliograph record for the same materials again and again, and you can tell like it will generate like some yeah, there are like differences between each version. So so it's very interesting. So I don't know why it becomes that. So technology, magic of technology.
Well, so we've got just about a minute left if there were any final questions. I'll give a minute in the chat and the Q&A. We have
Yeah.
some lovely congratulations and thanks coming in the chat as well.
Thank you. Yeah, so I just want to conclude that we are not replacing the catalogers. Catalogers' professional judgment is very important. So we just when we do cataloging, any types of cataloging, we should always put the catalogers in the center to let AI support them, help them, not replace them. So human professional judgment is still important.
I think that's very reassuring for a lot of us to hear.
Yeah.
Well, with that, we're pretty much at time. So I'll say, please join me in thanking Xiaojie Duan, today's presenter. As a reminder, the session is recorded and recordings will be available online. There's also the resources that are available through the resources page on the Zoom session. That I will make sure that we end the session and the recording.